Hey y'all, this is Gucci. She's a toy poodle and she's a little old lady. So follow along while I groom her today. Come here, sweet baby. You want to go get a bath? It's okay. It's wet. Okay, darling. Face massage? She's just a shivering. You're cold. I'm sorry. Let's wrap you up. We'll do a puppy burrito and keep you warm. Come here. There we go. You'll be warm in just a minute. I'll get you dried off. I get it. As you age, it's hard to keep your temperature regulated. Here, let's put the happy hoodie on. Here we go. Oh, that's a good girl. Okay, here we go, sweetheart. All right, I'm gonna start out on low, okay? Oh, let's get the happy hoodie off. That's my good girl. Oh goodness, oh goodness. Sweet baby. I'm gonna brush your head out so it can dry. I don't put the blow dryer on their heads because it's a force dryer and they don't like it. And we don't want to stress the baby out. Gucci's my little old lady. What in the world? How'd you get that in there? It's a big old man. I'm going to take my thinning shears, these little bad boys, and trim that out because it's not close to the skin. If it was close to the skin, I wouldn't do this. I would shave it because you can't tell where the mat ends and begins with the skin. So always shave out the mats. Don't ever use scissors to cut out mats unless they're dangling away from the skin. That would be the only case where it would be safe. And I'm not going to pull them out with the comb because that hurt. I'm using a mat rake. It has blades on this side. So you have to be careful not to cut the dog with it. But as long as you use the blade side out, you should be okay. Tail's a little bit matted too. What you been doing? Got some little tangles in there. They're not too bad. I'm just surprised is all because you're so old. It's not like you're running around the house being rambunctious. Those days are gone for you, aren't they? Just that my rambunctious days are behind me. Okay, we got it out. No problem. All right, sweet pea, let's cut the hair sticking out of your ear, if you have any. It's not a lot. I don't pluck the ears anymore. In the earlier part of my career, I did. And we saw a lot of repeat ear infections. And I went to a convention once, a grooming convention, and one of the vets there said that when you pull the hair out of the ear canal, it leaves a little minuscule tear in the ear canal, which opens it up for the bacteria to breed in there. So I stopped doing it, and lo and behold, we're seeing a lot less ear infections. They're pretty common in this area because of the yeast growing, because it's so it's a humid, hot climate, and the ears can never dry out. So it causes yeast to grow in there, but we're seeing a lot less of that now that we're not plucking the ear hair out. Plus, for some of the dogs, it's really a painful experience. And especially when you do it on a puppy, and then they're terrified of having their ears touched anymore. So this is the most kind, gentle way to rid the inside of the ear of the hair. When I do find a yeast infection in the ear, I flush it out with some antifungal ear cleaner. And you can, a vet told me once I could put Monistat cream in the ear, which I do. It's for yeast infections for women, but it still works the same. It has the same ingredients in it as the stuff you get from the vet. Let's do your nails, sweetie pie. You're a very good girl. You've always been a good girl, though. Even before you started aging like you're doing. Uh-oh, you got tickled your foot. You kind of jerked it away a little bit there. And for those who don't know, this is a Dremel tool. And I got this diamond head for it. And that has been amazing. They're kind of pricey. They're about $100, but you never have to replace it. It lasts forever. And I've had this for a couple of years now, so it's true. And it has the end part right there. There's a little hole. I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't know if you can see that. But it has a little hole in the end of it where there's also some abrasive stuff. So you can get the tip of the toenail that you can't reach. You can turn it that way. So it's a great little tool. I think it's called a Dominique. I love it too because with the old kind, the sandpaper ones, if you touch your skin or their skin, it peels it. And it'll leave marks on you and the dog. And this does not do that. It's much gentler, even though it works. Okay, baby girl. All right, now let's see. You get clean feet, and I'm using a 5-in-1 Bravura. I always have trouble saying that. It has 5 different settings for the blades, and I'm going to do her pads with the 40 blade, which is all the way over to the right side. It says 0.7. That's 40 blade. Or you can use a clipper with a 40 blade attachment if you choose. But these are really cool because you can maneuver them. They're not heavy. I love to do this for the feet and the sanitary and things like that. I don't know how I ever lived without this little tool. And there are different brands out there. I'm certainly not trying to sell y'all anything. It's not sponsored or anything like that. It's just the tools that I have found over the years that I like to use. Now she's getting clean feet. So I'm going to take the 40 blade and set my line, and I'm going away from the foot, not in the opposite direction, because I'm going to come back and use a 15 blade for that, so that it's not a naked foot. Some people like that. I don't prefer it. And where I'm setting the line is right where her pad starts in the back. Okay, let's do this foot. And I'm not digging real hard in there because you can cut the foot. So mostly I just get the stuff that's sticking up, unless it's matted. Then you have to go in there and get it. Hopefully my pole is not blocking too much of your view for this, but you get the idea anyway. And I'm just cleaning those bottom of those feet up. And I am using a very light touch. You don't ever want to bear down on the clippers against their skin. That can also cause abrasions and cuts. All right, now I'm going to switch this to a 10 blade to do her sanitary and her armpits. On this side is a 9. The next one over is a 10, and that's the safest blade to use for their sanitary. I just like to scoop out the armpits because that's where the friction occurs. And if I just do a tidy up like an eyes, feet, and sanitary, I will do that so that they don't get mats in their armpits for the next groom. You have to be careful not to dig too much in there though, because on some dogs, especially ones that have a pattern, I've done that before too far in, and then you have this gap that shows. So just use a light touch on that. You don't want to scoop a lot out, and I'm gonna come back with the scissors and cut out any other part that's sticking out. You say on the hiney hole, we just barely trim around it with a light touch with a 10. This was probably the hardest thing for me to learn when I started grooming, was how to get into the sanitary area properly. And I've found all different kinds of techniques depending on the dog's abilities or disabilities, because some of them have hip problems, some of them can't stand. Shay, but we figure it out, don't we, baby? And then I stand them up, which I call Superman, or in this case, Superwoman. And then I just clean out the stuff that I missed. Oh, sweetie pie. I have been known to sit with a dog in my lap and put them on their back and do their sanitary if their hips are arthritic. She was not able to stand like I need her to. That's why I'm doing it this way. Sometimes you can go in underneath on the opposite side and get the sani too. Give me a baby. I'm going to try to get your sanitary a little bit. It's okay, baby. Can you put your feet down if I hold you up? If you're using a 10 blade on your clipper, you always want to make sure that you're starting with a cool blade. Do not ever stick a hot blade on a dog's skin. You will give them razor burn. And by testing that, you just stick it to your wrist. If it's too warm for your wrist, then it's too warm for them. Okay, now I'm going to do a 15 for the clean feet in the opposite direction toward the foot. That would be the third one, which is in the middle. It says 1.9 millimeters. And this you have to be really careful because you can cut the webbing in between their feet. So you have to really pay attention to what you're doing. That's why I like these clippers, because they're light and I can maneuver them. And I would always rather leave a little bit of hair than to cut their foot. And fortunately, Gucci is used to having her feet done. A lot of poodles will fight you on this part because, I mean, I think I would too if you're digging in between my toes. But she's pretty used to it. She's probably had clean feet her whole life. I know as long as I've had her, as long as I've been grooming her, she does. This is my awkward side, so I try to do it from the opposite side of the dog because I'm right-handed and it's her back left foot. Otherwise, I'm just having difficulty getting the blade turned the way I need it to. And Miss Gucci is fine with whatever I need to do, aren't you, baby? I just always try to respect their boundaries and try to work around their needs and do what's best for them. Sometimes you have to push them a little bit for some things if they're just being silly, but I am not beyond telling a pet parent, I'm sorry, the dog did not cooperate for this, because I'm not the groomer who's going to hold the dog down and force them through something that they're uncomfortable with. I'm just not. I am the advocate for them. Even though I want to please the pet parent, my first priority is their feelings, the dog's feelings, and how they feel about things matters most. Isn't that right, baby girl? See, like, she's not real crazy about the front nails, but she's not, or the front feet, she's just not fighting me too hard. And I'm not stressing her out or anything to do it, so holding her in my arms kind of comforts her and gives her a little bit of stability. So, because I'm an old lady. So sometimes it's a little more difficult in the front because they can see. It's closer to their head. You know, they can kind of ignore some things when it's in the back because they can't see it. But for dogs who are stimulated visually, not her of course because she can't see well, they just prefer not to have it in front of them. We got to finish your toe. Now the good thing about these clippers also is that the blade does not heat up as quickly as the regular blades do on the larger larger clipper. Go Gucci girl. All done. Okay, now that I'm done, I like to do all the tedious stuff first and get it out of the way so that the rest of the groom feels easy. So the things that I like the least, I do first. As long as the dog is okay with it. Sometimes I won't because if the dog hates it and it's something that's going to stress them out, I'll save it till last. So it just depends on the dog. Gucci is getting a 1/4 inch all over. So I'm taking a number 30 blade and putting it under a metal clip comb. That is a 1/4 inch. I use Andis. You can use other brands. I did kind of forget, not kind of, I forgot that she's getting a clean face. And I would normally do that before I move on to the body, but so we got a little distracted, didn't we? So I'm gonna do that first before I go to do any more of the body. And whenever I start with the body, I start at the very back of the head. This is called the occiput, where the head meets the neck. And that's where you start to go backwards. So I'm going back to my little clipper. I'm gonna spray it off just because it's not hot, but it's starting to warm up and I don't want it to warm up on her face. So for the face, I use a 10. Some people use different blades. A 10 is the safest one and it does not leave their face super naked. So that's just the one I prefer. All right, baby girl. For this, I'm gonna flip her ear back and it's gonna be right here where the corner of her eye is. Straight back, and be careful when you get around the ear. You don't want to cut the ear, but it goes all the way to the ear from that corner of the eye. And then the neck, you want to do it to about right here in a V. Then I'm going to start at the corner of her eye and come toward her nose with the 10. You just always want to be sure that you're holding their head and their mouth, because if a tongue comes out, it will get cut and it bleeds like crazy. I've seen it happen. Hold on, sweet pea. She's giving me a little bit of trouble because she can kind of see something, but she doesn't know what it is, do you? You don't know what's coming at your face. It's kind of bothersome when you can't see it, huh? She's not a licker, so I'm not too concerned about her trying to lick the blade, but I'm still very hyper aware. All right, we're going to give you a Capstar, sweetheart. For those of you who don't know, Capstar is a very safe, just a 24-hour little pill that kills the fleas starts killing them within 30 minutes, and it only lasts 24 hours. And also, you can give it to puppies. There's an age limit. I think it's 9 weeks or something. But anyway, you can give it to puppies, and also you can give it in conjunction with their other flea meds. It will not poison them or over. I've been using Capstar for 17 years, and I've not seen anybody have a reaction to it. So I am a big fan of Capstar. More so than flea shampoo, because flea shampoo you cannot use on the head. You always want to use tearless shampoo on the face, and the fleas will run. And there goes one right there. All right, baby, we're going to have to stop and go get you a Capstar. Yeah, you got fleas. They want another one. See, I couldn't, usually on a white dog you can see them real well, but she's black, so they were kind of hiding from me. I gave her a Capstar. Sorry, I did it in the other room. I just pushed it to the back of her throat and she swallowed it. So that will take care of her fleas. Now, let's go back to your body. Sometimes on dogs that have a flat coat, which means the hair lays down, I will use 2 blades up or 2 clip combs up from the one that I'm using going this direction. I will come back, I will use it that direction to even out the coat. But in this case, poodles, for the most part, their hair stands out, so I don't have to do that. It just saves you a lot of back brushing, which I'm going to do that anyway on the legs, so the body will be even just from going in this direction. And she gets a palm tail, so I am avoiding that. So we're going right up to it, aren't we? I have known you a long time, little girl. I have watched you age. You watched me age too, didn't you? So I'm not too worried about getting her legs perfect, because I'm going to come back and scissor those. But if you knock some of the hair off, it does save your hands in the long run. Always go down right here, because this is called the tuck up. And if you come straight at it this direction, you can catch it in between these and you will cut them open. I've seen somebody do it. So I always go down unless they don't have the little flappy thing. So I'm super careful right there. That's one of the areas you want to be aware of when you're grooming. So I'm just knocking a little bit of hair off of her legs so I don't have so much to scissor. Hey, good girl. Also, you want to be careful under the arm. When you lift the arm up, they have a little flap of skin right there, and you can also cut that. That's another danger zone, if you will. So we're all about safety, aren't we, Gucci? Just trying to save y'all from having a bad day if you cut a dog, because it does create a bad day for the groomer, the pet parent, and the dog. Does it happen? Yes, unfortunately it does. No groomer does it on purpose, but you should never hide it from a client. If it happens here, we tell the pet parent about it. We do not charge them for the groom. And also, if there is a vet bill that comes out of it, I take care of that. I have insurance for that. I haven't really, knock on wood, I've not had to use my insurance, but I have it if it's needed, because I'm not the only one that grooms. Most of the time here, it's just some minor little, oh, I nicked the pad a little bit, or, you know, something like that. It's nothing really serious, thank goodness, because everybody here is calm and patient and not stressed out because they get to do their own schedule, so they can put as many or as few on their schedule as they like so that they're not stressed out. I've never agreed with someone else having control over that. When I first started grooming at one of the corporate grooming shops or grooming salons, they were trying to force me to do 8 dogs a day, and I was a brand new groomer, and they wanted me to do a dog an hour, basically. And you better not get overtime. It just wasn't a great environment for someone who was brand new. So I moved on. For me, as a brand new groomer, it was impossible for me to get a dog done in an hour. And it didn't matter the size of the dog or anything. That was what I was told I had to do. So I would go home crying, stressed out all the time, because it was an impossible task. So we don't have that here. All right, Miss Gucci. I usually go backwards right here just a little bit, right up to the breastbone, just to kind of clean up that sanitary area a little bit. Some of the tricks that I've learned over the years, I learned them at grooming conventions and watching other groomers. You will learn a lot if you're open-minded to learning from someone else. And you can learn stuff from a brand new groomer. So don't think just because they don't have a lot of experience, they can't teach you something. Everyone can teach you something, and everyone can learn something new. Yeah, right, Miss Thing. Normally, you would not do a clip comb on the top of a poodle's head, but that is what her mother prefers. So I am doing a 1/2 inch clip comb over the top of her head. Her mom likes it low maintenance, and she doesn't care about it being a little palm on the top. The tail's different. She wants the tail to look like a palm, but for the top, she likes that short. And I know a lot of groomers would be like, you're using a clip comb on the head? Yes, because that is what the pet parent wants. Otherwise, no, that would not be a common practice for me. I like to do the head first, because if the pet parent walks in while you're working on the dog and they're aware that the pet parent's there, they go a little crazy. Also, you have an opportunity to come back and check the face before you're finished and see if you missed something. There will always be some hair that sticks out. They'll shake their head or something. Comb out the ears, and we'll comb from the underside too, because that pulls the hair that might be hiding in there. I'm going to do her ears first. I mostly have a routine where I do the same things in the same order, and I have it set up where the way that I'm doing it, I will catch anything that I may have forgotten or, you know, missed along the way. All right, let's see. I'm going to use my chunkers. That's chunkers. They just have a wider teeth than my thinners, and they take chunks of hair out. And she gets kind of short ears because she's a little girl. Are you itching? I know, baby, but those fleas are going to go away very soon. Miss Donna gave you something to get rid of, and you're still crawling around your face bothering you, aren't they? Poor little honey bunny. You should be getting some relief here shortly. It takes about 30 minutes to start activating. And then they just start falling off. I'm just kind of neatening up the ends a little bit because she comes pretty frequently, so I don't have a lot to take off. She is very well taken care of, or what we call a frequent flyer. I know it, baby. Your fleas crawling around her face. You can give dogs flea meds in this area, and they still get fleas. So do not judge this pet parent, because I certainly don't. My own dogs, I am religious about giving them their flea meds every month on the 1st. And I still have one dog, he's white, that he gets fleas occasionally, and I have to give him a Capstar because I don't want to give him too much flea meds and then poison him, because it is, basically it's poison. but hopefully you're poisoning the fleas and not the dogs, so you don't want to give them too much. I currently use a topical because I just don't like giving them the meds. That's a personal preference of mine. Nothing wrong with people who want to give them the oral, but it's just not my thing. I actually gave oral years ago, and about poisoned one of my dogs. He started having seizures. It was a medication that hadn't been on the market very long, and I think it has since been removed. Can't remember the name of it, but lesson learned, wait until something's been out for a while before you give it to your dog. I thought I was doing the best thing for my dog, and it turned out not to be so good. Now I'm going to go back with my curves. Poor baby, she's itching. Try to soften this ear so it's not so blunt, just by kind of trimming the ends a little. Kind of gives her a round kind of look too without cutting too much off. So that way it doesn't look so harsh. I'm just barely nipping the end there where it kind of curves. Poor sweetheart, she's just itching. So Gucci kind of gets a teddy bear head, sort of. It's in between the teddy bear head and the top knot, poodle top knot. And I don't really get why they call it a top knot when a dog that has long hair that you pull up into a ponytail, they call that a top knot also. So I don't know. I would prefer they called it a poodle palm on the top or something. I don't know what they can call it, but it would be less confusing. And Gucci's mom likes a pretty big palm on the tail end. I'm sorry, I've got the hiccups. And her tail is kind of weird that it's not really growing hair on the bottom side of her tail. I don't know why. It's her age, I guess. But you can't really tell, so we just kind of simulate a palm. And I just keep cutting in a circle with my curves until it looks like a little ball. And then she's gonna sit on it and smash it down. You spend all that time working on it. Another thing that groomers kind of laugh about, I guess you could say, is they will spend all this time getting the top knot on the poodle just right. And the first thing the pet parent does when they walk in is pet the top of the head. And you can see the groomer just cringe. It's like, all that work I did, you just mashed it down. Pet parents don't know that though. They don't know how difficult it is to get that just right and how you're so proud of it when it's perfect. Now I'm just gonna back brush her legs, if she'll let me. Now you wanna sit down, you've been standing up real good this whole time. Now I'm just gonna back brush it and trim the stuff that's sticking out so that it's even. Just to the shape of the leg and to the length that we did on her body, which is 1/4 inch. And I will back brush a couple of times at the least. And more than that on a dog who has what I call flat hair. But on a poodle, it kind of sticks out anyway. But I will back brush at least twice on a poodle's legs, and then as many times as I have to on another dog when they have flat hair, because I like for it to be even. I'm kind of a freak about it. Now I did go around the bottom of where her hair meets the clean feet and just trim the bottom up a little bit. Her hair's not real long, so I don't have to do any like blending or any of that stuff. I just trim stuff that's sticking down. And then you can use straight shears to do the legs. Sometimes I just keep my curves going because if they're not real long-legged, I can still make it be a straight line with my curves. If they have long legs, I will definitely pick up my curves. I mean my straights and use those on the front legs. And actually, I am gonna try my straights on your legs because it's not working out as well. And I'm just back brushing in so that I get the straight hairs. You always want to scissor with the growth of the hair. When you don't do that, you leave big chop marks, and that's how we know pet parents have been scissoring on a dog, because they don't know this. Like you'll notice that I'm getting in all kinds of pretzel positions to make sure I'm scissoring with the growth of the hair. That's the reason we do that. Also, be very careful, another danger zone, that little stop pad right there on the back of the foot. Just remember it's there when you're trimming the foot or the leg. I always feel for it. All right, Miss Gucci Boochie, you are done, sweetie. I'll put this pretty bow on you. Oh, Gucci, you look beautiful, honey. Okay. And there's Miss Gucci. Say thank you for watching. She's trying to smell the camera, I think. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Go spread some kindness, and I'll see y'all in the next video.